Hello everyone, this is my post-Christmas video. I did not actually get any model trains for Christmas, but that's alright. I got a great little selection of semis, and I was able to pick up my CNW F unit and one of my new Metra BiLevel Kato passenger cars for my new Metra set that I'll be collecting. I have the Metra paint scheme for the F40PH and the RTA coming as well. I'll have 3 more of these cars coming. 2 of them are coaches, and another one will be the the cab car. And one of those coaches will be in the RTA paint scheme. So without further ado, let's crack these babies open and see what we have. I bought both of these at Southside Trains. This F7 unit is a CNW. It's actually a freight motor. It does not have the it does not have the steam generator to power different facilities. So I'll still be using it on my commuter train, but it will not be able to handle any buffet cars or a parlor car, or anything that would need the steam generator. So we're gonna finish opening this guy. I'm going to show you exactly what we have here and do a little product review. I don't do many product reviews, there's no specific reason. I'm usually pretty happy with what I get. I did a product review of a Milwaukee GP38-2 a while back because I was very upset with what I got. It was just a big pile of junk with more and more problems every time I sent it in. Since then, I've decided to fix the rest of it. I kept getting it back damaged, and I said, you know what, that's enough. Let me get the rest of this packaging put away here, and we'll take a closer look at this unit. Alright, we've got my CNW F unit here from Proto 2000 with sound and DCC. It is Tsunami sound, and for you sound buffs out there with these locomotives, if you remember some of the early F units like this, there's actually a thing called transitioning, where as you were revving up, the engine would actually have to idle down. You had to throw some switches to change the voltage and some of the electronics or the other stuff in the cab, and then you had to throttle up again because the voltage would change, and that was called transitioning. Well, this locomotive, when we go around the layout, will show you that. It actually does that. Another thing this is a ATS system. You'll see it on both trucks, on both sides, I believe. Yep, right there. You can see it on the axles there. And what that is automatic train stop. Now, it's kind of like an emergency brake, like you saw if you've seen the movie The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3. If you go past the red light, this thing's going to trip automatically. Now, it wouldn't put on the emergency brakes from what I've been taught, but it'll actually apply the brakes to bring the train to a complete stop for safety reasons. So now we have computers, satellites, and all kinds of cool stuff for that. But this was an earlier version. So as you can see, as I rotate the locomotive, this has great detail. It's kind of hard to see with the reflection of the light here, but they have hand grabs around that you can see up here. Very well detailed mirrors, other parts, all the vents and everything up here. It really is a beautiful locomotive. Now, I got this, of course, at my regular discounted rate for $192 with tax. Now, that is a great deal. The only reason I bought this is because, one, I wanted something to pull my BiLevels, for my CNW BiLevels, and it has all the proper sounds, it's got all the detail, and it's just beautiful. I mean, it's got this stuff just for the passenger service, which is awesome. And it is in the correct passenger paint scheme, and it's even matching colors. Oh, I know, how amazing is that? If you look up here a little bit, you'll see everything is very well detailed. You got little grab irons, everything that you need. You'll see you got the hatch over, or the screening over the fans here to prevent stuff from falling in there like ice and whatnot. You've got your stacks, you've got your fans, and you've even got your antennas and everything. And it is just really a good looking locomotive. In fact, from what I can see in my camera picture, it almost looks like brass, and in real life it kind of does. This is probably my favorite Proto engine I've ever seen. In fact, I'm going to see if I can move this without losing the picture. and zoom in a bit for you guys. If you can see that, the details with all the hand applied grab irons over here, the beautiful lettering, all the hoses. I will not be putting semi-scale knuckle couplers on the back, but I will probably put one on the front just for looks. Bring this up here. In fact, I'll go like this. Set this guy on the cardboard here so you can see the truck detail maybe a little bit better. There you go. Hopefully that helps. But this boy is beautiful. Look at that detail. It really is a beautiful unit. Let's see if I can get this up a little bit more. There we go. Look at that. It is gorgeous. It's also got painted figures in the cab, painted steel plates by the steps, and those plates are actually see-through. The actual little steps here are actually see-through. A little bit more contrast there. You can see the details on the cab. You got the bars up here, you got the hand grabs on the side, and this does have a working Mars light, which I absolutely love. It's also got the little box here for plugging in to keep it warm. As I found out firsthand when my friend Rich and I were doing some rail fanning in Kenosha, is that many locomotives don't run coolant. I didn't know that. I'm not a huge locomotive buff. I just know what looks good and what many of them are, and the differences between many of them. But I did not know that many of them don't run coolant. Now, when I was a diesel tech, everything I worked on had coolant because it had to be stored outside. But locomotives are a little bit different. When these guys are getting stored for long periods of time, such as overnight for commuter operations or for maybe a few days at a time, sometimes they'll plug them in. And especially if they don't have coolant. So that's what they do, especially up north here in Wisconsin in the cold winters and such. And the reason being is coolant is expensive when you have to have, you know, a few hundred gallons in a locomotive. So I'm going to turn this a little bit more. I'm going to show you something here which is not a pet peeve of mine because I've become used to it. And it's always been an issue with Exact Rail. It's been an issue with Walthers and Proto, and I'm sure a few other manufacturers. Hasn't been a problem for me on my F units with Intermountain. I'm going to show you something here after I finish the details. Bring this guy a little bit closer again. But again, you can see all the beautiful details, all the little gaps between the parts here. There's a little bit of a gap there. It's not huge, but you can see it's something that would be separately applied. And you can probably see what I'm going to be talking about here in a second, and it's with this grill here. Now, I just got a great fix for this from a friend of mine up at a hobby shop. He's part of the North American Prototype Modelers. And if you see here, this kicks out a little bit. That happens. It's a common thing among proto units, like the F units like this. And you can see it there. It's just a gap. It's just from the weather. And that happens, right? Metal heats and expands, or expands and contracts and with heat and cold, and it's normal, especially if you're going from a cold, dry outdoors to a warm, you know, more humid indoors. This happens from time to time. So you either live with it, or what you can do is take a knife, just gently, without scratching or chipping any paint, pop this out here, get some barge or I think it's barge glue. You can buy at Ace. Barge or Banner, I honestly don't remember, I forgot. I haven't done it myself yet. I don't know that I will, just because last time I tried to, every time I try to fix something little like this, I screw something else bigger. Screw up something else. So I'm not going to do it. I'm going to live with it. I can do that. But that's it for now for this guy. We'll be back in just a second, and we're going to show you I'll show you my new Metro car. Alright, we're back. We've got my BiLevel passenger car, 4-window Chicago Metro, number 7836. I've got 3 more of these on my way, 2 of them in Metro and 1 in RTA. I'm going to start looking for some more of these on eBay and online for the Walthers cars. I found a couple pictures of a old module I had set up and the track taped out and everything, and I really like that picture because it's got my Metro on there with the different cars and a freight train, and I don't have any of that stuff that I used to have, and I really kind of miss it. That was before I went to Madison for college, and I switched pretty much everything over to N-Scale, and now I'm back in HO. And one of the biggest losses any modeler can take is when they sell off their collection, especially in a hurry. If you're changing scales or you're moving, that is the worst time to sell your collection. If you're going to do it, start it now. Do a little bit at a time, but hold on to what's meaningful to you. I mean, even if you hold on to your whole collection, I'd rather see it boxed up for a few years and brought back out later than lose it and you can't find it anymore. And that's exactly what's happened to me. And so I'm going to make up for that time. I'm going to pay the price, quite literally. So we're going to take a look at this guy. I've never owned one of these cars before, but I have owned one of these guys, the Kato Pullman, or excuse me, the Kato Bud business car. And you have to put on all the details yourself, all the little grab irons and such. And what's nice about these is with DCC, the lights still operate because they're just light. They just light up. There's no direction or anything. There are no interior lights in this. I'm not going to get to doing that. Maybe at a later date or something, when I go through all my passenger equipment and start detailing it, I'll start putting in interior lights, but not yet. But just to give you an idea, this has, you know, everything on it, including a little board on the end, and this is one of my favorite cars. This is one of the first ones I did out of 3. I had a Santa Fe, a Union Pacific, and this one. And the Union Pacific and this one are the 2 that I did not screw up. The Santa Fe was the first one I had, and I lost half the parts. So I was really happy with the way this one and the Union Pacific turned out, the Sunset. And I sold that on HO Yard Scale on Facebook. And the guy's really happy with it. I'm very proud of it. I'm glad it's with a good home. Something else I do want to do with these is try putting LEDs in here and actually having the little screen over the end. So I'm going to try to put that in there when I get around to detailing this and doing interior lights and that, because I'll be going all out on this one along with a few others for what would be my private train. So enough of that. Let's get on with this guy. So first thing you're going to see, or one of the first things you're going to see, is this instructions and parts listing. This will tell you how to take everything apart and how to install the optional lighting kit, which I'll be doing later, and I'll have a video for that. And you will see the bumps and bruises along the way. I'll be showing all the mistakes I make. You could say it's unedited. I'll try not to swear. And then here's an exploded parts view. This is going to come in handy when I start putting on all the detail parts. This also has the cab coach, which I'll be putting in the decoder for the directional lighting on here. I don't know if I'm going to be the one to do that because I do want the functioning beacon and everything to work properly. I may take this in to have someone else do it, someone who's a professional. It does have some tips here, like this one. Only if holes are not formed properly, a number 78 drill or 0.4 millimeter diameter can be used to assist in the installation of detail parts. As shown, you can keep the sections of sprue mounted on the detail parts to make them easier to handle. Once installed, the sprue piece can be cut with any nippers, or cut away with nippers. That's going to be handy. I had to use a small pair of pliers for that Bud car, and that was a huge pain. So, instructions out of the way. Take this guy out of the box here because it is a little bit of a pain to take out by hand. So I like to pull the whole thing out and just push from behind gently but firmly, and there's my car. Now in the box you'll also have all your detail parts. You'll have a chunk of metal here for either prying it apart or installing pieces, and then you'll have your other couplers. That'll be for the close coupling and commuter action. I don't know if I'll be installing those yet. We'll see how it works and I'll let you know. But for now, we're just going to place this gently back in here. We don't want anything falling out or getting broken or bent, because that's when things really become a pain. So let's get this all back in and do a quick little review of this. I'll do one again, just a short one, when I get all the details applied. So it's a very nice car. I like the paint so far, no problems. It's very clean, it's neat. This is actually in a display case up at my hobby shop. And after rail fanning in Chicago, I decided I needed these. I still see 3 or 4 of them in service, one here and there. I saw 2 on a train together, so I figured I'm alright running these. Not that I have any particular opinion towards not running them or anything, but it's nice to see that they're still out there. And seeing them, I decided I need them. I did. I'm more of a collector and an operator right now than a modeler, but I'm getting into the weathering, the painting, and that. And I'll show you guys my Chicago, Milwaukee, Northeastern locomotive they'll be painting up. And you'll see the pictures of that at the beginning and end of my videos for the caboose and the locomotive. And there's another gentleman who, in 1/8 scale, I think that's 1.5 inch scale, is going to be using my paint job on one of his cabooses. And I'm building a tender, and I'll be painting that for the Chicago, Milwaukee, and Northwestern as well with the same paint scheme. But back to this. All the details are good. One thing about Kato versus Walthers is the quality is a bit different. It's better, I think, with these. You don't have the roof popping out the side or the sides coming in. You don't have that funky piece of plastic that bends off the bottom that gets crooked or bent or cracked. It's solid. It's more rigid. The windows are tinted properly. They're not as dark. It's got a full interior. Proper interior too if you get to go inside, which when I get to doing the interior detailing, you'll see it. Maybe if I zoom in a little bit, if it'll adjust, maybe you can see in there. But it is actually correct to how it should be in the prototype. You can see the handrails, you can see the shelving in there, the seats that fold up. I mean, it's really quite well done. So I'm really impressed. I'm hoping with a little bit of pressure from some fellow modelers and with some pressure from myself at TrainFest, and the fact that one of the engineers at Kato at last year's TrainFest 2012, he actually asked a couple of people on Friday night during the open house for the exhibitors what they'd like to see Kato come out with. And one of the things I mentioned was it would be wonderful to see him do more modern passenger equipment, which includes the fluted side, Metro cars, the newer locomotives, which they did the AMD 103 and Amtrak. I'm glad that they did it and that they are listening, but I'd like them to really do the fluted side and do the BNSF, and then they could also do the older schemes like this, but they had the fluted side for the CB&Q and the Milwaukee Road. I'm not sure who else would have had them, but these turned out really well. I've never ran one of these before, so we'll see how it works with these longer skinny couplers that look like they're pretty easy to bend. But we'll see what happens in just a second. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is I've got the CNW commuter cars out of the way. I'm just going to run the Metro car and my new F unit. And let me push this guy into the scene a little bit here. I'm going to show you what he's got real quick. So this is the sound model. I'll apply power to the system here, and we'll get them fired up. There's the Mars light, bell, alright, it may sound really quiet on the video. I'm not sure how quiet it's going to be. So I'll shoot this again closer. I'm not going to turn the volume up because it's a pain to change. But I'll show it again at the end of the video, so you can see what it's like on startup a little bit closer with more sound. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to back up, connect ourselves a passenger car, and we're going to get on our way around the layout. You may have heard it rev up, rev down, and then rev up again, and that would be the transitioning I was talking about in the previous shot when we were talking about the details of this locomotive. And that's something that was done, like I said, to change over the electrical system. So far it's running great. It looks good. No problems on the layout, just good to hear. It was previously programmed at my hobby shop, which is one thing that's nice. He was usually willing to program it for you. And he does a really good job. He takes good care of my stuff and everyone else's that comes through. So let's get some more cars on here and see how well these work together. I know this may look a little goofy, but it works. I hope everyone had a great Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope everyone got what they wished for, maybe a bit more. And I was really happy I got some trucks over here towards the right of the shot that I'll show you guys in a minute. I'll also have the name of the manufacturer for you. I know a few people have been asking on Facebook. Another page I've joined on there recently is Model Rail Radio. And it's a really cool site. They've got a lot of interesting stuff, a lot of videos, a lot of pictures, helpful people that can give you tips and advice and, you know, little how-tos. And they're really just, it's a great group. You see some stuff on there that you don't see on other pages, like the model railroading page or my Facebook page or some of the other places I've been on. Another one I really like is the Wisconsin Model Railroaders, and mostly that's because I'm in Wisconsin, but one thing I like about up here is you see a lot of color. You don't see, I mean, out east you may not see the Canadian National, you may not see much BNSF, but up here you see a little bit of everything. I mean, you never know what you're going to see if you go up to Superior or Escanaba or Minnesota, or even just along the Mississippi in Wisconsin. But it really is nice, and they're both great pages. Those are two I most recently joined, and that was the Model Rail Radio and the Wisconsin Model Railroaders. So now I'm going to try backing this guy up here and so see how he does in reverse. I'll let him idle down a bit. And if you didn't hear it the first time, listen carefully again. I won't speak. And if you hear it rev up, idle, and then come up again, that's the transitioning. And there it was. You could just hear it before it finished coming into the picture. It just idled down a little bit and then throttled back up again. I'm going to do some more testing with this car before I decide to put in the new couplers or not. The close action couplers that Kato provides you with to bring the cars a little bit closer together, and they're supposed to work better for the push-pull operations, but we'll see what happens. I've got some S-curves that gotta go through, and we'll see what works better before I make my final decision. And I'll do a little bit of a review with that when I do the detailed review. So far it seems to work alright. I don't see anything rubbing together. Bring this guy up a little bit, take the slack out. And again, I'll do all the sounds for you at the end of the video so you can hear them up close. Alright, here are the trucks that I got for Christmas from my dad. I love this. I love these trucks. I love this brand. It's called Trucks and Stuff. It's in Stockton, California, and you can find it at tnstruckmodels at AOL.com. As it actually says here, it's 1/87th scale. And they tell you on the bottom, you know, it's a Kenworth T660, and it was one of these guys. They're beautiful models. They're great. I get them at $12.50 a piece at Southside Trains. You can find them on Walther's website. I think they're $16 a piece list. Otherwise, there are a few that come up on sale once in a while, so you can keep an eye on it. And I'll show you up close here a couple of these. They're pretty well detailed, especially for their price. One of the pet peeves I have is sometimes, well, it's not a pet peeve, but it's something to take into consideration if you're going to consider buying these. Once in a while, you'll get a mirror that's bent a little bit out of shape or something. Or you'll get tires. Let's see if I can find one that's a little off kilter. Once in a while, you'll see that the tires are coming off the rims a little bit, and all you gotta do is maneuver it to get it back on. Here is actually a great example. Let's see if I can get this guy off. There we go. And it just takes a little bit of force. They just pop in and out. And this one actually has a good bit of detail. It's actually got the fins on the bottom here. As you see here, on the rear wheel, you can see the tire's not quite on the rim all the way. I'm not sure how well you guys can see that. Let's see if I can... that's going to work or not. Maybe, there we go. Yeah, there you go. You can see right here where the tire's not quite on the rim all the way. All you gotta do to fix that is to push it forward a little bit and just kind of help press it on there, and that should fix it. It's not going to be perfect, but it's definitely better than it was. And with some weathering, you can take care of that too. Put on some salt or some dirt or road grime, whatever you want. I just go through as I see it, pull the truck off the layout, just roll the wheels around. Sorry. Just roll the wheels around and get that stuff rolled back on. That's an easy enough fix. And they're good looking models. They're die cast. And this one you can actually see drapes in the interior. If you can make it out. Oh, there you go. You can see it a little bit. But you can actually see, like here, this has got a bent mirror here. You just kind of push it back, finagle it a little bit, maybe blow some more warm air on there. There you go. And that's all you got to do to fix it. Nice and simple. Great looking models. These will be going with my food distribution area, or just my distribution center, which I've decided the sections I showed you guys last time on my layout update. I've decided I've got a couple of new routes I want to go, or sections I want to build, and one of them is just a big distribution center, and it's mostly going to be box cars, and that's where all my trucks are going to be. That's where I'm going to use my refrigeration cars, which I forgot to bring down. I paid for them up at the hobby shop, and then I got lost in the excitement of my new pasture equipment, and I forgot my last 5 reefers up there, so I got to pick those up next time. And next time I should also have another metric coach, and maybe the third one, and maybe a couple other cars. I also ordered some Walther's passenger cars for Amtrak, 2 domes and 2 sleepers. They were on sale. I got them for about 20 bucks a piece. The Bud domes are going for 22 or 24 a piece, and the Pullman sleepers are going for about 24 or 26 a piece, and that's what Walther's was asking. So I still got a little bit less than that, about 20 bucks a pop. and it's an unbeatable price. And I'd really like to find one of the Proto E8s for Amtrak that came out recently, and I guess they're sold out. They can't order them from Walthers anymore. So, and that's as far as I know from what I've been told. So I'm gonna wait and find one. I'll find some more of these cars, the Pullman cars from Walthers, and I'll do a side-by-side comparison of the coaches and the cab coaches between the Walthers and the Kato brands, so you can see the differences. I can see them clearly right here. It'd be hard to show you, I think, on film, but I'll try. You can see the cracks, maybe, in the cars. If you look, I'll point it out to you real quick, but on some of the cars, you can see where this pushes in underneath, whereas this is one solid piece, it looks like. And you can see a little yellow brim coming across here, where the cars are split, you could say, where the roof would come off. And then the windows are a bit darker, you can't see inside as well. The Katos are nicer looking. I like them. I don't think I like them enough to replace my Walthers cars, but I definitely like them. So I've got 3 more on the way, and we'll see what happens. They are pre-numbered, so I don't like renumbering stuff. But the lettering is crisper than on the Walthers cars. The plastic looks a little bit more like metal than the Walthers cars. The details are a little bit cleaner. You got some flack to clean off on the Walthers cars versus the Kato is nice and crisp. The trucks, they look just about the same. The Katos probably have less of a plasticky look to them, but I think it pretty much comes down to what do you prefer. I'll take this off of here so you guys can see the Walthers cars with the engine. I'll run them around like that real quick for you. So I'll put the power back to it. And let's get some lights going. Let's back up a little bit here. And I'll run it around for you too. And I might put in some more video at the end of this after the credits, just of this guy going around the layout in different areas. So I'll make a lap with this guy, and then that'll be it. So until next time, everyone take care, drive safe. Hope everyone had a great holiday season, and happy rail fanning. Take care, everyone.